Hey guys, I am back here with Kim. And Kim, where are we going to get to visit today?
Today we're going to Roosevelt State Park, which is in Pine Mountain, Georgia. Then we're going to go just down the road to Roosevelt's Little White House Historic Site, which is in Warm Springs.
That sounds really fun. And what are we going to get to do at these locations?
Well, here we're going to go hiking. We're going to see great campsites and cabins. We're going to enjoy the Pine Mountain Trail and Dowdle's Knob behind us. Then when we're at the Little White House Historic Site, we're actually going to go into Roosevelt's vacation home here in Georgia and go into his museum.
That sounds really neat. And you guys, if it's any indication of how this visit's going to be based on the view behind us, this is going to be a really amazing trip. I can't wait to see it. We are here with Amy, who is one of the rangers here at FD Roosevelt State Park. Now, Amy, I understand this is a very large park with a lot to offer. So tell me what kind of things people can find here at the park.
Sure. A little over 9,000 acres. We have lots of hiking trails. We have horseback riding trails. We have places to tent camp, backcountry camp, cabins to rent, and we also have boat rental and geocaching on our trails.
All right, so this trailhead that we're standing in front of is near
Dowdle's Knob.
Okay, and why is Dowdle's Knob significant other than the beautiful views that are over there?
Dowdle's Knob is the highest point on the ridge, about 1,395 feet, and historically it is where President Roosevelt came as president, as governor of New York, and prior to that to enjoy the view and reflect on affairs.
That's very cool, and there's a beautiful statue over here commemorating how he would sit and look out over the views, and it's very interesting because it's one of the only ones that show him in his leg braces. Is that correct?
Correct. During all of his other times in public, he would hide behind someone or be sitting or in a position to where nobody knew that he had braces.
Yeah, so it's very interesting to look at, and one can definitely see how you could sit up here and clear your mind with the stunning views you guys can see from up here. But I also understand there's a little story about a grill over there. Can you tell me about that?
In front of where the statue is located is a grill, and when Franklin was here, at any given time, he would bring picnic fare, and that would be for the heads of state or the ambassadors. This would be the working lunch. And it would be sandwiches or hot dogs or just very fun picnic fare.
That's totally cool, you guys. So think about it. If you guys came up here, you could see the beautiful views, and you would be where all these heads of state were just enjoying a nice little hot dog cookout with Franklin Roosevelt.
That's right.
That's very neat. Guys, we are here at the horse stables at FD Roosevelt State Park, and I am with
Robin Flory with Roosevelt Riding Stables.
All right, and you guys operate within the park. Now, if you guys will remember, we have visited Hard Labor Creek State Park, and they have horse stables there, but you had to bring your own horses, which is great. But actually, at this park, you're able to come and ride for a few hours, and they provide the horses for you. Now, tell me, like, how many trails do you guys have? I mean, anybody can come and ride?
Sure. We have trails for all different skill levels and age levels. We offer guided trail rides through the mountain here inside the state park, anywhere from 1 to 4 hour rides.
Okay, and so how many trails do you have? Like 4 of them?
We have 4 different trails. We have a 1 hour trail ride, 2 different 2 hour trail rides, and a 4 hour trail ride.
All right, so obviously those are for all kind of different skill levels. It doesn't matter if you've been on a horse your whole life or if you just want to try it for the first time.
Exactly, yes. With the age requirements, you have to be 6 years old to ride your own horse. We can cater to children ages 3 to 5. They just ride in a buddy seat behind one of our guides.
Okay.
And 2-year-olds, we offer pony rides.
All right. And where can they find all the latest news? Like, do you guys offer specialty rides at sunset?
We periodically through the year, we will offer special rides. That information can be found on our website at rooseveltstables.com, as well as our Facebook page, Roosevelt Riding Stables.
All right, so you guys make sure to come out. These horses are beautiful. I love horses, and I hope you guys will love them too.
So we're here today with David Burke, who is a ranger at Roosevelt's Little White House, and it's such a gorgeous, peaceful place to visit, but it's also incredibly significant, and not just in Georgia history, but U.S. history and even world history. Thanks for joining me today.
Good morning.
So tell me a little bit about the significance of the Little White House and Warm Springs, how it plays into global history.
Well, it started with Roosevelt coming down here hunting for a cure for polio, which he did not find a cure, but he set in motion a chain of events where he created the March of Dimes, which led to it funding the vaccine, which every one of us have taken, from every third grader coming through here to people in India today. Vietnam's polio free because of Warm Springs, Georgia.
Yeah.
Well, how's that? Because March of Dimes funded the vaccine, and it all begins with Roosevelt coming here in 1924, about 94 years ago this October.
And what's so interesting to me, there's of course the Little White House that was left very much the way it was after he passed away, but there's a museum filled with fascinating artifacts and things that belong to Roosevelt, things that people gave him. And one of the things that I think is interesting is the cane collection, because the public did think that he was able to walk. They thought that all he needed was a cane, and at that time the media did not focus on
over 110 canes were sent here from across the country as tributes, hoping that he might be able to use it or as a way of saying thank you and good luck in your presidency. Here, please accept this gift. And thousands of things all together through the years were sent to Warm Springs. We have over 110 walking canes. They're carved, different woods, different inlays. They're all beautiful on display for people to look at.
Yeah, the museum is fascinating. It has his fireside chats playing on a radio. It has some hand-controlled cars where he would actually drive through the countryside
We
here.
have the 1938 Ford, and it's a beautiful car. It's a V8 Ford, and he drove across the countryside. Many people knew Roosevelt by the fact he drove up into their yard for a chat.
And can you imagine today with the Secret Service today, things are very different. You couldn't just drive around in the countryside.
You don't drive around today in just an open-air car.
Yeah, yeah. And so tell us a little bit about the unfinished portrait and what happened that day on April 12th, 1945.
Well, he was here for some rest. 10 cars of government pulled into Warm Springs, Georgia. You're in the middle of a world war. You're running the country, and you're running it here from Warm Springs, Georgia. And he's having his portrait painted. A little relaxation time. Is a beautiful April day, and he complained of a headache that afternoon. And the artist painting the portrait noticed that. He stopped, he collapsed, and the painting was just never touched again. It's known as the unfinished portrait. It's a national treasure. It hangs here in the Little White House Museum, and it's for everybody to come see. And millions of people over the years have heard about it. They've seen it on press, and they come to see, where's the portrait, where's the portrait, and they come here to see that portrait.
Yeah, and when you go through the museum, you see a lot of photographs that are famous, and you go, oh, I recognize that.
Yeah, such as the photograph on the wall of the Great Depression, the most famous one. People recognize the lady that shows despair in her face, and Roosevelt sent photographers out across the country to capture the New Deal programs in progress and the despair people were facing, and it was recorded through these photographers, and these photographs are on display as well here. Some of them, most of them in the Library of Congress.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, fascinating place to visit. One of the things that I think is interesting is the Little White House behind us here is left very much the way it was the day that he passed away, and there's even a wheelchair that he used that was made from a kitchen chair, this tiny wooden chair.
Well, they took old kitchen chairs and they would knock the legs off of and put a wheelchair frame up underneath it, and basically you had a modern wheelchair.
Yeah.
Wheelchairs before Roosevelt were these big oak, wicker, creaky structures. They called them convalescent chairs. Well, he just created, if you will, the first modern wheelchair.
Yeah.
And patients, when they saw him in that wheelchair, they wanted wheelchairs just like it.
Right.
They saw him with hand controls in his car, they wanted hand controls in their cars. So he inspired lots of people in different ways.
Yeah, there's a wonderful film that has historic footage. He spent a lot of Thanksgivings here in Warm Springs. There are the pools which first brought him here, and people don't often think about the fact that Warm Springs is called that because they do have naturally warm water. You can actually go down into the pools and touch.
It's
Can't
88
you?
degrees coming out of the ground. It flows at about 900 gallons a minute, 88 degrees year round. It never really varies, and it's full of minerals. It's a very therapeutic water.
Right.
It is magnesium and bicarbonate to give you flow. Roosevelt could stand in the water unaided, and he could exercise in the water. And the magnesium and the sulfate soothed his muscles so much so that he could re-enter politics. But then he also introduced the physical therapy aspects of the water down here and created the world's first polio treatment center for people based on the water.
Right. And
Yes, you can go feel the water coming out of the spring at our Pools Museum.
yeah. So one of the things that I think is really significant is how Roosevelt's experiences with rural Georgians led to his New Deal policies that affected everyone in the country.
Absolutely. From the CCC to the TVA, Roosevelt created tree farms here in the 1920s, not knowing he's going to be president 8 years later, but he would create the CCC that planted billions of trees across the country. He went to a field trip to Alabama, inspected a dam, comes back to the little White House, and they outline what becomes the Tennessee Valley Authority, which has huge impact in our nation today. He saw banks closing in Georgia, and that's what led him to developing the bank holiday, which led to the creation of the FDIC, Social Security, the rural electrification. 75% of Georgia is on REA or EMC power today, and he attributes that in a speech to the birthplace, Warm Springs being the birthplace of the Rural Electrification Administration, which is valuable across the country to this day.
Yeah.
We have people here, yeah, I work for EMC, or people here, yeah, I work for TVA. People come here working at agencies that are still in place today love the fact that Roosevelt is still employing them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm employed today because of Roosevelt. Many people come here that might work at a federally insured bank, work because of Roosevelt created that banking system and makes it safe today.
So I noticed when we were going through the museum that there's all kinds of really fascinating things to see. I really liked the carving of the Mayflower that's actually made from the Mayflower, right?
It was presented to Roosevelt in 1941 when he met with Winston Churchill. It's an actual piece of wood from the timbers of the ship.
Wow.
And I tell people, when you have Thanksgiving dinner this year, you can saw a piece of wood that the Pilgrims sailed upon.
Yeah.
We've got it in the museum. The sails are made of onion skins, and the lady wove her hair to make the rigs and ropes. It's a very beautiful little piece of antique, probably 400 years old.
Yeah, and there are a lot of things in the museum that people gave to him. He was such a beloved president that people sent him gifts from all across the world.
All across the country mainly, and across the world, yeah, they is still looked at to this day as one of the most beloved leaders in our country's history.
Yeah.
I have people from countries I would not expect come here. I ask them, how do you hear about Roosevelt? We love him.
So thank you, David, for telling me a little bit more about Roosevelt's Little White House. I learned so much every time I come see you.
I learn every day I come to work here. So much occurred at this spot in our history. It amazes me, and we try to share that. We have guided tours available for people. We do special events. Try to do at least a special event every quarter, maybe every month if we can. We have programs that are available geared to homeschoolers, geared to third graders, fifth graders, eighth graders, and adults alike. We have a good time. We have a knowledgeable staff, and we're trying to keep the history and the legacy of Roosevelt alive at the Little White House here.
So we hope people will come visit.
Thank you guys for joining us today as we visited F.D. Roosevelt State Park. And then we hopped over here. It's about a 15-20 minute drive, and we learned so much at the Little White House Historic Site. So you can stay in one of the beautiful cottages, you can hike the beautiful trails over at the park, and then you can come over here and learn a lot of rich history. Be sure to join us next time on Peach State Parks. If you miss any of our episodes, don't forget, you can always go to, what's the Georgia website?
It's gastateparks.org.
All right. Or you can always catch all the episodes online anytime at scbtv.com. See you next time.